So first of all, what is Redis? So Redis is an open source BSD licensed advanced in-memory key value store where keys can contain data structures such as strings, hashes, lists, sets, and sorted sets. So it's an in-memory key value store with persistence. That means Redis can be used as a database or a caching layer or a message broker. Now I already said that it's BSD licensed, that means it's open source. Now Redis is written in C and it's NoSQL database. Now what is NoSQL? NoSQL is an informal, loosely defined term for non-relational structured data storage systems like MongoDB, Memcached, CouchDB, or Cassandra. So following in the footsteps of other NoSQL databases such as Cassandra, CouchDB, or MongoDB, Redis allows the user to store vast amount of data without the limits of relational databases. So in NoSQL databases, data can be stored in non-relational way. Now what does the name Redis mean? Redis stands for Remote Directory Server. It is often referred to as a data structure server since the keys can contain strings, hashes, lists, sets, and sorted sets. So because the keys can contain these type of different data structures, it's often referred as a data structure server, right? So the name comes from Remote Directory Server. Now what is Redis used for? So as I already mentioned that it's an advanced key value store that can function as a NoSQL database or as a memory cache store to improve performance when serving data that is stored in system memory. And also it can be used as a message broker. So it can be used in place of caching systems such as Memcached. Now you must be wondering how to interact with Redis. So Redis can be installed on a server and it can be interacted with a command line tool or command line interface which is called Redis CLI. So using this Redis CLI, we can interact with our Redis server. Now this Redis client can be used on any machine, and then when we open this Redis client, which is a command line client, the first line will look like this. So Redis, then this kind of angle bracket. This we will see in the coming videos, how to install Redis and how we can use Redis. Now let's talk about some of the history about Redis. So in early 2009, a developer called Salvatore Sanfilippo, he was an Italian developer by the way, started the Redis project. At that time, he was working on a real-time web analytics solution and found that MySQL could not provide the necessary performance. So in June 2009, Redis was deployed in production for a website called log.com, which was a real-time web analytics website. Then in March 2010, a company called VMware hired Sanfilippo to work full-time on Redis, although Redis remains as BSD licensed. Subsequently, VMware hired some of the other developers who also contributed majorly to assist on the project. So this was a brief introduction about Redis, and from the next video we will see how we can install Redis and how to use Redis. So stay tuned and please rate, comment, and subscribe, and bye for now. Hey guys, welcome to the next video on Redis tutorial for beginners. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can download and install Redis on your Windows operating system. So let's get started. So first of all, open your favorite browser and search for Redis. And hopefully the first result which will appear here will be from redis.io. So you need to just click this link, which is for the redis.io. And then once you click this link, you will be able to see the downloads tab on the top of this website. So let me just maximize this browser and I can see this tab which is for downloads, right? So I'm going to click this downloads tab and then I'm in the downloads section. Now when you scroll down a little, you will see a Windows section here, and there is a message here which says the Redis project does not officially support Windows. However, the Microsoft Open Tech Group develops and maintains this Windows port targeting Windows 64. So Redis project does not officially support Windows, but there is a group of developers which makes it available for Windows. So we just need to click this link which says learn more, and when you click this link you will be redirected to a GitHub page of Redis which is maintained by Microsoft Archive. So once you reach to this page and scroll a little down and reach to the readme.md, here on the third line you will be able to see this message which says you can download the latest unsigned binary and unsigned MSI installer from this page. So there is a link for the release page, right? So just click this link which says release page, and then you will be redirected to the downloads page for Redis for Windows, right? Now when you scroll down a little here are few options to download a Redis on your Windows operating system. The first option is by using .msi file, which is an installer. Second option is by using a zip file. So all the binaries will be packed in this zip file and you need to set up the environment variable. So I'm going to show you both the ways. So let's start with the .zip file. So I'm going to download this .zip file first of all, and I'm going to minimize the browser, and here in downloads I can see this zip file. So what I will do is I will create a new folder. I'm making this folder in my downloads directory itself, and I will name it as Redis, but you are free to create this directory anywhere, wherever you wish, right? And then I'm going to extract this zip file inside this Redis folder. So let me drag this to this Redis folder, this zip file, and then I'm going to just extract all files inside this Redis folder, right? So it's going to extract all the files. It's not really big file, so it will be extracted really soon, and you can see all the files are extracted inside this Redis folder, and there is a Redis -x64 -3.2. 3.2 is the latest version at the time of making this video. So inside this Redis folder there are some files. So these files are all important, but two are of our interest. One is Redis server and another is Redis CLI. So let me minimize this other window here, and then I'm going to double click on this Redis -server exe file. So I'm going to double click on this Redis server, which is going to start the Redis server, and it will ask you to give the administrative privileges, or you need to allow the access to this server. So here I'm going to just press this button which says allow access, and now the Redis server has been started. Now the default port on which the Redis server start is this one, which is 6379. Okay, so this is the default port on which Redis starts on the local host, and then this is the PID of this Redis server, right? Now next I'm going to start the Redis CLI to interact with this server. So now this time click on this Redis CLI, and it's going to start another terminal, and it's going to connect to this Redis server, and then using this CLI you will be able to interact with this server, right? So this is the client and server is running in the background, right? So let me minimize this window also, and let me just place this server here, and let me open this client on the right hand side, right? So this is the server and this is the client. Now in this client, when you write ping, you will get the response pong. So you can see I'm getting the response pong. That means the server is running fine and my client is able to connect to the server and get the response, right? Now in order to save something as a key value pair, for testing we can just write set, and then it's going to give you some IntelliSense also. So I just wrote a keyword set and it gives me the hint that I need to give the key value pair here. So as a key I will give a name or name key, and I will give any name as a value. So for example, Mark I'm going to give as a name, right? And then I'm going to press enter and it says okay. That means this key value, that means name is our key and Mark is the value of the name, which is the value, right? So to get this value you can just write get and then the name of the key, which is name itself in our case, and press enter, and it's going to give us the value, right? So that means everything is working fine, and we are able to connect to the Redis server, and it's able to save the values, right? But sometimes, or most of the times, you will not go to this server and start from this directory, right? So you want to open your command line from your Windows, and you want to connect from this command terminal from Windows, not from this location, right? So in order to do that, you need to set the environment variables. So let's set the environment variables for this Redis client and server. So we will be able to open this Redis server and Redis client from our Windows terminal. So in order to do this, you just need to right click on this PC. So just right click on this PC and then go to the properties, and once this properties window is open, we will go to the advanced settings. So just click this option which says advanced system settings, and once this advanced system settings is open, we are going to go to the environment variables. Just click this option which says environment variables, and once environment variables is open, you just need to select this option under the system variable, which is for path. So just double click on this option which says path, and here we just need to give a new environment variable, and this new environment variable is the path to your Redis folder where your server and Redis CLI is there. So you just need to copy this path where this Redis server executable file is there and Redis CLI file is there. So I'm just going to copy this path, and then into this environment variable I will just create a new variable. So I will just click new, and then I will paste this path, right? And then press enter, and then click OK, and then once again click OK, and then once again click OK, right? So now the environment variable for Redis server is set. So now I will just close these two terminals, right? And then I'm going to open the command line. So to open my Windows terminal, I can right click on this Windows icon. So just right click on the Windows icon and then open the command prompt. You can open the command prompt from here also, or with the admin privileges. So I'm going to open the command prompt with the admin privileges, and once the command prompt is open, I can start the server from this command prompt. So to start the server, you just need to write redis -server, which is the executable file here, right? So I'm going to just write redis -server and then press enter, which is going to start the Redis server, right? So because we have set the environment variable, now we can start the server from the command prompt from Windows from any location, right? Now in order to start the client, we will open another command prompt, and then we can start this with the Redis CLI command. So I'm going to just write Redis -CLI and then press enter, and then we are connected to this server, right? Now once again I can set any value here. So for example, set and then any name or any key. I'm going to say this time the key is any number. So I'm going to just write number and then any number, for example 50 here, right? And then press enter, and then I'm going to get number and then press enter, and it's going to give us the value of this number, which is 50, right? So in this way also you can start your Redis server and Redis client. Okay, now in case if you're wondering how we can install this Redis on our Windows operating system using this MSI file, which is the more easier version, we can just download this MSI file. And once this MSI file is downloaded, I'm going to go to the location where it's downloaded, and once this location is open, I'm going to install it. So I'm going to minimize my browser, and I can see that this MSI file is there in my downloads folder. So I'm going to double click on this MSI file, and once this MSI file installer starts, we just need to click some next button to install it. So just wait for some seconds to start the wizard, and we just need to click next here, and then just accept terms and condition and then click next. And this is the location where Redis will be installed on your system. And then this is the important step. So it will ask you if you want to add Redis installation folder to your environment variable. So this installer will automatically add the Redis path to the environment variable if you check this option, which is more easier also, right? And then click next, and this is the default port, as I already said, 6379, and then it says add an exception to the firewall. We can just click next here, and then we will just set the memory as default and click next and just click install, right? So it's going to start installing, and some seconds Redis will be installed on your system. And once it's installed, then you will be able to start Redis from your command line once again. So once again, for example, I am going to open the command prompt, and then I will give the Redis CLI command. So I'm going to just write Redis -CLI, and it's automatically has been started. And when I just write ping, I will get the response pong. So you may be wondering that this time I haven't started the Redis server. So if you use the Redis installer MSI file to install Redis, the server will be automatically started, and you don't need to explicitly start the server. You just need to connect to the server using the Redis CLI. So you just need to open the command prompt, and then using Redis CLI you can connect to that server, which is already been started by that installer automatically, right? So this time we don't need to start the server, it's already has been started. We just need the Redis CLI to connect to it. So these are the two ways which you can use to install Redis on your Windows operating system. Hey guys, welcome to the next video on Redis tutorial for beginners. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can download and install Redis on a Linux operating system. For this demonstration, I will be using a Ubuntu operating system. So let's get started. So there are two ways of installing Redis on our Ubuntu operating system. So first of all, we can use apt-get install to install Redis. But there is a disadvantage of installing Redis using apt-get, and that is the version you will install. So with apt-get, whenever you use apt-get to install Redis, the repositories are not updated frequently as the Redis version is released. So you will be able to see that you have installed the older version of Redis if you use apt-get command. So for example, let's go to the Redis website. So search for Redis, and the first result which will appear here will be from redis.io, and we will see the version of Redis right now. So as I can see here, Redis 4.0.0 is the latest version, right? And we can see using the apt-get command. So I'm going to open the terminal here in Ubuntu, and here I can just type apt -cache to know the version of Redis available, right? So just write apt cache and then policy and then the Redis server. So just write Redis -server, okay, and then press enter, and then you will be able to see the version. So as far as I can see, the version available using apt-get command will be 2.8 or something near to that, right, for my Ubuntu operating system. It may be different if you have the more newest version of Ubuntu. I have Ubuntu 14.04, but if you have, for example, Ubuntu 16.04 or Ubuntu 17.04, it may be little bit better, this version, but it will not be the latest version, which is 4.0.0 in most of the cases, right? So if you want the easiest way, then you can just write sudo apt -get install Redis -server, okay, and then once you press enter, it's going to install Redis server on your Ubuntu operating system, but the version of this Ubuntu server will be 2.8, right? So in this case, I'm going to show you how you can install the latest version of Redis. So for that, I'm going to just clear the terminal. Let's go to the website once again. So I'm on the redis.io website, and I will just click downloads here, and then I will go little bit down, and I can see the version 4.0.0, and I will scroll a little more down, and I can see this installation step here, and here it's using wget to get this zip file, and then we need to unzip this zip file, and then we will do cd, and then we will make the Redis binaries, right? So this is the procedure for installing Redis on a Linux operating system or a Mac operating system. This procedure will be almost the same, right? So let's open our terminal first of all, and then once the terminal is open, we are going to install two packages here. One is the build essential package, and the other is the TCL package. Build essential package we use to compile our binaries for the Redis server, and TCL package we will use to test our binaries, okay? So first of all, we will give this command sudo apt -get update. First of all, we will update all the repositories, and I'm going to give my Ubuntu password. So updates is done. I'm going to just clear the terminal once again, and this time I will give sudo apt -get install build essential and TCL, okay, and then press enter, which is going to install these two packages. In my case, I can see both the packages are already installed. So if they are already installed, you will see these kind of message that they are already installed. Otherwise, if they are not present, they will be installed on your system. So first of all, give this command to install these two packages, and then once again let me clear the terminal, and then we are ready to install Redis using these commands which are there on the redis.io website, right? So the first command is just to download this tar file. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to first of all make a Redis folder. So let me make a Redis folder, mkdir Redis, and then I will cd to this Redis folder or directory, and inside this directory I'm going to give this wget command, which I copied from the Redis website. So let me just maximize the terminal and just give this command. So wget http download whatever version of the Redis you are downloading. So at the time of making this video, 4.0.0 is the latest version. So you can see this version 4.0.0, right? Otherwise this version will be different in your case if the latest version is released, right? So this, just give this command and then press enter, which is going to download this tar file. You can see this tar file is downloaded. And then let me clear the terminal once again and let me do ls once again. And now we are going to give the tar command to unzip this tar file. So just give this command, copy and paste, nothing else, and then once again ls, and you can see this Redis 4.0.0 directory is extracted. And then we will go inside this Redis directory, cd to this directory, and then we just need to give the make command. So just give make command. So just write make here and then press enter, which is going to start the making of this Redis binaries. It can take some time, so just wait for the process to complete. So now I can see the make command is successfully completed, and at the end of the make command I can see this message which says it's good idea to run make test after this make command. So I'm going to run make test now. So I'm going to just give make test command and then press enter and let it run. So now the make test command is also finished. So now let's go to the next step. So I'm going to the website. So make test is finished, and now it says we just need to go to the source and we need to start the Redis server using this source folder and then Redis server. Okay, and Redis CLI will be started from source Redis CLI, right? So let's start Redis server first of all. So let's do ls here, and I can see this source directory, right? So I can just start the Redis server like this. So you just need to give src /Redis server, okay, and then press enter, which is going to start the Redis server. And you can see the Redis server has been started. I will just move it to the left hand side, this command line terminal, and now I will open the next terminal. So let me open the next terminal, and then in this next terminal I'm going to start the Redis client. So I will just go to the Redis directory once again where I have installed or created the binaries, and then I will go to the Redis directory, and then I will give this Redis command. So src and then /Redis, I think. So let me do ls once again, and yes, src is here. So I will give src /Redis client or CLI, I think. Yeah, so Redis CLI, let me just make it a little bit bigger so we can see it perfectly. So now you can see we are connected to the server using this IP address and on this port. So you can see the Redis server was started on this default port 639, and we are connected to this port using the Redis CLI. So let's set something. So I'm going to set, for example, name max for example, and then press enter, and it says okay. And now I will just say get name, and it's going to give me the name max. So everything is working fine. But one more thing we can do here is, because we have installed Redis on some directory, on a particular directory, every time we need to start Redis, we need to cd to that directory, and then we need to start the server. And we don't want that. We want that whenever we give the Redis server command from any directory, we just need to start the Redis server. So in order to do this, what we need to do is, let me just minimize this and let me just maximize this terminal. and we are inside the Redis directory, as you already know, and you can see the src folder is already here, right? So this is the src folder. Now the last command you can give here is make install, so that whenever you give Redis server command from anywhere, from any directory, it will start the server, and you don't need to navigate to this particular directory in order to start the Redis server. So just give make install command in order to install Redis server and the Redis CLI. So let's do that, and it says that cannot create regular file because the permissions are denied, permission denied. That means I need to give the sudo command before the make install. So just give sudo make install command here. Okay, so you just need to give sudo make install command, and then once again press enter, and now the Redis server and Redis CLI and other stuff which are there inside this src folder is installed, right? So let me just close this terminal and let me open the fresh terminal now, and we are not inside that Redis directory, right? We are in our home folder, and then from here I will just give Redis server command, and it will start the server. So I don't need to navigate to that Redis directory because Redis is now installed on my system. In the same way, I can start the client. So I will just start a new terminal, and I will just give Redis minus CLI to connect to it, and I'm connected, right? So in this way, you can download and install Redis on your Ubuntu Linux operating system. Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can download and install Redis on your Mac operating system. So let's get started and let's see how we can install Redis on our Mac. So first of all, open up your favorite browser and search for Redis. And the first link which will appear here will be from redis.io. So we will just click this link, which is redis.io. And here we can see the home page of Redis. What we want to do here is we want to go to the downloads section. So we will just click this option which says download, and then when we scroll down a little, we can see this downloads button. But don't click this download button yet. We will see how to install Redis on our Mac while scrolling down a little. So when we scroll down a little, here you can see the installation steps for Redis. So first we need to download this tar file, and then we need to unzip or untar this tar file, and then we need to make the Redis binaries, right? Now let's see what is the latest version at the time of making this video for the Redis. So we can see in the downloads button that 4.0.0 is the latest stable version at the time of making this video, right? So we will install the 4.0.0 version of Redis. Now sometimes this wget command may not work on your Mac operating system, so we will use the curl command to download this tar file. Okay, so instead of wget we will use the curl command, and then we will follow the same procedure as described here with some additional commands. Okay, so what we will do first is on my desktop, for example, or at your chosen location, just create a folder. So I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to name it as Redis. Okay, so inside this Redis directory I'm going to just download this tar file and untar it, and then make the binaries out of it. Okay, so then once I have this folder, I will just see the info, get the info, and then just see what is the path of this Redis directory, and I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to open a terminal. So just open a terminal and then just cd to this Redis directory. So because it's on my desktop, I can just use this location. So user, and then whatever is your username, and then / desktop, and then / Redis. I just need to write / Redis, and then I'm inside this Redis folder, right? Now we will do the ls, and there is nothing inside this Redis folder. And let's just open this folder, so we will see what's happening inside this folder. Okay, so let me just resize it, so we will see all the things which are happening here. And now we will just give a curl command, so just write curl and then -o, and then the location of this tar file. So just copy this URL from here, which is there on the downloads page without wget. Okay, so just copy this URL and then paste it here on the terminal, and then press enter, which is going to download this tar file. And once it's downloaded, we will just untar it. So you can see this tar file is downloaded, right? And to untar it or extract it, we will use this command. So right click, copy, and then just paste it here, which is going to extract this tar file. And we can see this folder is extracted, and inside this folder we have some files, right? So the next step is to cd to this directory, which is Redis -4.0.0, and then make it, right? So you can see the step, cd to this 4.0.0 directory and give the make command. So we will do the same, cd to the Redis 4.0.0 directory, and then give a make command, which is going to make the binaries for the Redis server and Redis client and other Redis stuff, right? So now the make is finished, and at last I can see this message which says it's a good idea to run make test. So let's run make test. I'm going to just give this command, which is make test, and then press enter. So now the make test command is also finished, and I can see this message which says all tests passed without error, right? So I know that everything is okay, and now I can start the Redis server and then Redis client. Okay, so let's see what are the command for those. So Redis server can be started from the source directory, and we just need to run this command, which is Redis server, and same we need to do for Redis client. So from the source directory we can just run this Redis CLI, right? So let's do this. So I'm going to open a new terminal. So let me open a new terminal. So now I have two terminals, right? So on the first terminal I will just do first of all ls here, or let me clear the terminal first of all. So clear, and then I will do ls here, and I can see there is a source directory here. So I will just give this command src and then Redis -server, right? So Redis -server, and press enter, which is going to start the Redis server, and it has started listening on this port, which is the default port for Redis, which is 6379, and this is the PID of this Redis server, right? Now once again I will navigate to this directory where I have installed Redis. So it's in my desktop, and then I'll go to the Redis directory, then the Redis 4.0.0, and then I will just give this command, which is src / Redis CLI. So let me do ls, so I know that I am in the same directory, and then I will just write src and then Redis CLI, and I'm connected to the Redis server. I can see this kind of prompt here. That means I'm connected to my Redis server, right? So first, to test whether everything is working fine or not, you just need to write ping here and then press enter, and if in return you get Pong, then you know that everything is working fine. You can also set something. So for example, set name is equal to max, and then press enter, and then you can get the name. So get name, and then you can get the name. Okay, and then you can give the save command to save everything, for example, right? So everything is working fine, but for example, when I open a new terminal and I want to run Redis CLI, for example, from here, how can I do it? So I just want to write Redis minus CLI and I want to run it. So let me just correct the spelling here. So Redis CLI, and I want to run it, and it says command not found, because right now the Redis CLI command can be only run from this directory, right? So you need to cd to this directory and then run the Redis command. So how to solve this problem? So this problem can be solved by running the make install command inside your Redis directory. So I'm going to just stop the server for now, and now I will once again do, for example, pwd, so you know that in which directory I am in. So I'm in my Redis 4.0.0 directory, right? Let me clear the terminal so you will be able to see better. So pwd present working directory, and you can see I'm in my desktop directory, and then there is a Redis directory here, which is this one, and then we are in the Redis 4.0.0 directory, right? So we have run here the make and make test command, and you just need to write make install command here with the sudo privileges. So you just need to write sudo make install here and then press enter, and you just need to give your max password here and then press enter, and then it will start the make install command, and then you can see everything is installed, and now you can run Redis server and Redis CLI from anywhere, right? So let me just close this terminal and close this terminal also. Let me just terminate everything, and I will open a new terminal so that we can check whether it's running from any other place other than this Redis folder or not. So I will start two terminals. In the first terminal I will write Redis server, and it starts from my home directory, and now I will give the Redis CLI command. So just give Redis CLI, and then I'm connected to this server, right? So everything is working fine, and now you can start a Redis server, and you can use Redis CLI command from anywhere from your directory structure, right? So in this way you can download and install Redis on your Mac operating system.
Hey guys, welcome to the next video on Redis tutorial for beginners. In the last few videos, we have seen how we can download and install Redis on our Windows, Linux and Mac operating system. Now, further videos I will be making on my Linux operating system, that is my Ubuntu operating system, because more frequently or most frequently this Redis server is installed on a Linux machine and it's used from a Linux machine. So it will be more appropriate to go further with this Linux operating system. But all the command which I will be using on this Linux operating system using the command line are applicable on the Windows terminal also and the Mac terminal also. So the command will not change, and you just need to start the Redis server and Redis CLI on your Windows or Mac OS, and then follow these instructions which I'm giving on my Ubuntu operating system. So if you are on Windows or Mac, you just need to follow the same steps. You just need to open two terminals on your operating system. It can be Mac or it can be your Windows, and of course the Linux. And on one terminal, you just need to start the Redis server. So I'm going to just start the Redis server here, and on the other one you just need to start the Redis CLI. Okay, so looks simple, right? The same step you need to do on your Windows or your Mac. Okay, so once our server is running, we can minimize this and start working to interact with this server using the Redis CLI. Okay, now let's start with the data types which are there in Redis, and then we will see how we can use one of the data type, which is string. So basically there are 5 data types which we can use in Redis, and as I already told you that Redis is a key value storage, so the key is a printable ASCII, right? And it can be up to 512 megabyte, so it can take a really big key, for example, and it should be a printable ASCII. And then we can see the data types of values. So the values can be strings, and then the containers of strings, so they can be hashes or lists or sets or sorted sets, right? So the key are printable ASCIIs. We can use printable ASCIIs for keys, and for values we can use strings, hashes, lists, sets and sorted sets, right? And this Redis string can be up to 512 megabytes. Okay, now let's start with the practical example. So we will start with the basics, and we will try to set some values and get some values. So for example, I have set some values already to this Redis server. So what I will do is, to get all the keys which are set, you just need to write keys and then the pattern, which is asterisk here. So asterisk is a wildcard, and it's going to search all the keys which are saved in your database and then give you the result. So for example, I have set 2 keys, which is name and name2, and it has given me both the keys which I have saved, right? So in order to see all the keys which are saved in your Redis database, you just need to write keys and asterisks, right? Now, as I already told you that to set some value as a string, you just need to use set and then a key. For example, in this case, I'm going to write name3 because name and name1 is already set. So I'm going to just set the third key, which is name3, and then I'm going to give some name, right? And then press enter. And then once again, I will just write keys asterisk. And now I can see there are 3 keys stored in my database, right? So set is to set a string value. And as you have already guessed from my previous videos, I've shown you this command, which is get command, and whatever key you will write here, it will give you the value of that key, which is mark in this case, right? In the same way, you can do name2, get name2, and it's going to give you the value of name2. Okay, so get and set, we are already clear. Now there is a delete command, del. Okay, so using a del and the key name, we can delete some key value pair. So for example, I want to delete name2 for now, and then I will just press enter. It's going to give me the number of keys affected, and in this case there is only one key with the name2. And now when I just do this command, which is keys asterisk, now it just gives me 2 values, which is name and name3. And because name2 key is already deleted, so I will not see this name2 again, right? In the same way, for example, I want to delete name3 key, then also I can do del and then name 3 and then press enter, and I can see the result, one key affected, and then now only one key left, which is name. Okay, so this is how you can delete some value, right? Now let's set these names once again. So for example, name Tom, and once again do the get, for example, get name. Now you will see that the key value of name is overwritten with the name Tom. So previously the value of name was Mark, you can see here, and now it's Tom. So whenever you set the value of previously set key, then whatever value you will give for this key will be overwritten, right? So value will be overwritten for that key. Now, for example, if we want to delete all the values which are stored in our Redis database, then we can use flush all command. So for example, I will set some more values to see this example. For example, name 2 is equal to John, and then I'm going to give name 3 is equal to Max. So now we have 3 names, so we can just give keys and asterisks to see that. So we have 3 keys stored, right? Now for example, I want to delete all these keys, then I can give flush all. So just write flush all command, and then it's going to delete all the values. So it says okay, and then once again when we give keys asterisks, then you can see empty list or set. So all the values are deleted using flush all command. So these are some of the most frequently used commands which we can use with the strings. In the next video also, we will see some of the more commands which we can use with the string values. Hey guys, welcome to the next video on Redis tutorial for beginners. In the last video, we have seen how we can use some of the command with the string values. Now in this video also, we will see some more command which we can use with the string values in Redis. So let's get started. First of all, I will show you one command which is valid in Linux terminal also, which is the clear command. So when you do clear, it's going to clear your terminal, right? So you can see when I have given the clear command, it's going to clear the terminal, and basically what it does is it just gives some space in between your last command which you have executed and this after this clear. Okay, so now you can see this terminal is totally empty now, right? And now we can start executing some of the other command. So right now our database is totally empty, I think. So we can check it with keys asterisks, and now let's set some values, and this time we can use a command which is called SETEX. Okay, and this SETEX is the command which we can use with second. So you just need to write SETEX, and this means set the value with the expiry of the key. Okay, and then for example, I just give the key, and then I need to give some seconds. So you can see the next option I need to give here is the number of seconds I want this key to live in my Redis database, and after that it will be automatically deleted. So for example, 10 seconds I want to give here, and then I want to give the value of it, for example max. Okay, now when I just press enter, it's going to say okay, and when I just get name, it's there, right? And then there is a command called TTL, and then you can use the key with this, and it says 2. And what is this 2? So TTL is the command for time to live. So it will check for how much time or how long it's this key is going to live. Okay, and it says 2 seconds. Okay, so this is time to live, and then the key, and then it returns us 2 seconds because 8 seconds has already passed after giving this command. And once again, for example, I will just say get name, and it's no longer there, right? Because we have just set 10-second expiry on this key. So after 10 seconds, it will be automatically deleted, right? For example, I will just give 50-second expiry, for example, here. So 50 max, and then I will just give a TTL and then name, and then you can see it shows 44 second, once again 40 second, and then it will show you the seconds for which this key is going to live. Okay, and after 36 seconds it will be deleted, right? So these are two more command which you can use with the string, right? Now let's set one more value. For example, set name2, and name2 is equal to Tom. Okay, and now we can for example override this value. So I told you, whenever you write something like this, set name2 and some other name, for example John, then it will overwrite the value of name2. For example, I take name2 as my key and give some other value, it will override. But if you don't know if name2 is there, and if you don't want to overwrite name2, then you can use this command called SETNX. And this SETNX first of all checks if this key is available or not, and if this key is not available, then only it's going to create this key. Otherwise it's going to just ignore, right? So let's give this command, and it says 0 because no key is affected due to this command. That means when we do get name2, we can see this name is not overwritten, because this command is used or will be successful when this key is not available in the database, right? If it's available, then it's going to just ignore, and if it's not available, then it's going to create a new value. For example, I will just give SETNX3, and this value is not available there. So I will just give some other name, and it says integer 1. That means one value is affected, and then I will just do keys asterisk to see the values, and I can see name2 is there and name3 is there. That means this was successful, right? And I can also get the value from get name3 also, and I can see that value is there. Let me clear this terminal. Now if you want to know the length of the value stored in the key, then you can just use strlen command. Okay, and then the key name, for example name2, and it's going to give you the length of that key. That means, for example, I do get name2 here, you can see it's a 3-character word, and that's the length of this value, right? And that's the result here. Okay, now for example, if we want to set multiple values with the same command, we use MSET. So just use MSET and then the key and the value. For example, this time I want to insert some numbers, so I will just say num1, and I will just give 50 here, and then after a space I will just write num2, and then I will say 60 here, num3, and for example 70, and so on, right? And then press enter, and it says okay. And then when I say keys asterisk, it's going to give me name3 and name2, which were already there, and then num1 and num2, because here you can see I have given the same key 2 times, right? So num1 was there, num2 and num2 I have given 2 times. Let's see the value inside the num2. So num2 get num2,
and let's see the value inside it. So the value inside is the last set value. So whatever is the last set value you will set for this key, it will show you that value here, right? So once again, for example, I will just give MSET, and then num3 here, and then give the value of, for example, 60 here, and then once again do the key asterisk. It's going to give me name3, num3, num2, name2, and num1, right? So right now I have 2 names and 3 numbers inside my database. Now if you want to set the expiry in millisecond, there is a command called SETNX, and then it takes the value in millisecond. You can see in the IntelliSense also, right? So I'm not going to set any value here, but I just wanted to show you this command also exists, which will take the value of seconds in milliseconds, right? So this is psetx. Okay, now there is one more command which is called DECR and INCR, which we use to increment and decrement the value of some key. So for example, I want to increment the value of key num1. So let's see the value first of all. So value of num1 is right now 50, and then we can just write DECR num1 and then press enter, and now the value becomes 49, right? It will give you the result, and when you get num1, is going to give you the value 49. So this DECR command will decrement the value by 1, and if you do INCR command to the num1, for example, once again the value will become 50. So INCR and DECR is to decrease and increase the value by 1. Okay, let me clear this terminal once again. Now there is one more command to increment or decrement the value by some number, and this is, for example, INCR by. So INCR by, and the key name, for example, num1 once again, and I want to increment the value of num1 by 5. So earlier it was 50, right? And then it's going to become 55 because I have incremented the value by 5. In the same way, I can do DECR by and on the same number num1, and for example I want to reduce the value by 30, right? And then press enter, and now it becomes 25. So get num1, and the result or the value inside it is 25. Now the last command I want to show here is the append command. So let me just set one more value, for example set, and then the key name, for example I will name it as my key. Okay, and the value here I want to set is hello. Okay, and then press enter, and then get my key, it's hello, right? Now there is an append command, so I can just use append append, and as the name suggests, I can append something to the key, right? So I want to append to my key, so I will just write the key name and whatever string you want to append here. So for example, in double quotes I will just give a space here, and then I will just write world here. Okay, and then press enter, and you can see the number of characters, I think, for the new value, right? So once again, get my key, and it's going to give me hello world. So space world is appended to the my key, right? So append is used to append a string. So these are some of the other commands which you can use with the string values. Hey guys, welcome to the next video on Redis tutorial for beginners. In the last 2 videos, we have talked about string values in Redis. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use hashes as values in Redis.
Now, first of all, what are hashes? Hashes are map between the string fields and string values. Hence, they are perfect data type for representation of objects. In Redis, every hash can store up to 4 billion field value pairs. Now, you may ask that I have talked about key value pairs, but what are these field value pairs, right? So let me show you a slide and then you will be able to understand in a better way. So this was the slide, similar kind of slide I have shown you in the string data type also, right? So in the hashes, we are talking about hashes now. So in the case of hashes, the keys are same, which are printable ASCII, you can see here. But in the case of string, we were using string array here, right? And that string array was about 512 megabyte, right? Now, in the case of hashes, we use this kind of map of field value, right? So field is this one and value is this one, okay? In the cases of string, it was like only a string value, right? So I will give you an example. For example, I want to store a students database or students info data. Then what I can do here is I can say student1 as a key. So student1 as a key. And then, for example, student has what attribute? Student has, for example, name, surname, age, in which class he is. So here field can be name, and then, for example, name is equal to mark, value 1 can be mark, right? Age is the field 2, for example, in this case, and then for example 15 is the value 2 here, right? Surname can be field 3 here, and then whatever the surname of the student, it will be value 3, right? So for every student we can just provide this kind of map for his information. So this is how hash data type as value work in Redis, right? Now let's take a practical example and then we will be able to understand this concept. So I'm going to just start the Redis CLI and let me see what are the keys there. So I'm going to just write keys pattern, and these are all the keys. So I'm going to flush all. So let me flush all here. So all the keys will be deleted, and now I'm going to clear this CLI, and let's start with the hashes, right? So as we have seen in the case of strings, we can just use this set command to set a key value pair. Now in the case of hashes, we can use MSET to set a key field value pair, right? So for example, we were talking about student information database, right? So just write MSET. H stands for hashes here. MSET we have already seen in the case of strings also, right? So just write MSET, and then for example stu1 for student1, and then for example I will just write name is equal to max, right? And then I can also give the second field value pair, right? So for example his age is equal to 15, and then for example class, in which class he is. So he is in, for example, 8th class. Okay, this is just an example. So this is student 1 information. Let me just give this minus here so we will be able to understand properly. And then when I press enter, it's going to say OK. And to get this value, there are two ways of getting. So you can just say get and the key name, for example stu-1 is the key name, and you can give the field name, whatever field you want to get, or you can just say get key name. And here get we have already seen in the case of strings also, and you just need to add a h before it, and then the student key name. It says error because we just need to give the field name also. So what field we want to get? So we want to get, for example, name of student 1. It says Max here, right? Now if you want to get all the information about student 1, you can just say get all. Okay, and here you can just give the student 1 key name, and it's going to give you all the field value information about the student 1. So for example, name Max, age 15, class 8. Okay, so let's add one more student, for example. So once again, this command HMSET student 2, and then the name, for example, Tom, age is 12, for example, and class is 7. Okay, press enter, and once again you can get the information about the student 2 using stu-2, right? So let me clear the terminal. So in this way you can just set the hash value and get the hash value, right? Now there is one more command for example, exists, and this will tell you if the field inside this hash set exists or not. So just write exists, and then the key name, for example, stu-1, and then for example, I am searching for surname. Okay, and surname field does not exist in student 1 info, right? And then I press enter, and it says integer 0. So there is no information about the surname of student 1, right? In the case of name, this name exists, right? The name field exists in this student 1 hash set. So when I just give this value, then it says integer 1, that means it exists. So 0, it doesn't exist, 1, it exists, right? Now for example, I want to delete a value. What I can do, I can just say HDEL, and it says first of all I need to give the key name, so stu1, and I want to delete, for example, class from it. So I will just write class, and then I can just press enter, right? And then I can just do get all and the student 1 key, and now you can see class doesn't exist here anymore, right? For example, I want to set once again the same value. I can just write HMSET, and then the same student stu1, and then class 8. Okay, and then press enter, it says okay, and once again get all student 1, and now once again the class is added here. Okay, so you can add and delete the values from this hash like this. So for deleting you use del, and then once again for setting you just add this field value pair. Now there is one more command called SETNX. So SETNX. So this command is used for setting the field value if the field doesn't exist. So if the field doesn't exist, this command will be successful, and if the field exists, this command will not be successful. So for example, I will just say stu1 name. So name field already exists, right? And I will just give some other name to the student 1, right? And it says 0. So this command is not successful, because this command will be successful only in the case of the field not available, right? So if I do the same command and I know that surname is not there, so I will just write surname and some surname, and then press enter, and it returns integer 1. That means it has created this field value inside this student set, right? So once again, when I do get all stu1, now this student1 also have surname information. Now, as in the case of string, we were using keys, right? So we were writing keys asterisk, right? Same you can use, for example, h keys here, and then the key name, for example, whatever key you want to give here, stu1, and it gives all the fields in that hash. So by field I mean the name and, for example, age, class and surname, only the field, not the value of those fields. So it will only return the fields of that key, whatever we provide here. Now, as in the case of string values, we were having DECR, decrement, or INCR for incrementing the value. So the same is available in the case of hashes also. So for example, I want to increase the age of some student by some number, I can do that. So just write h and then INCR by, and then the key name stu-1, for example, and the field name is age. I want to increment his age, and then right now the age is 15, for example, and I want to increase the age by 2, and then press enter, and then once again when I do h get all stu1, now you can see the age becomes 17, right? So in order to increment the value, you just write h INCR by and the key and the field which you want to increment. Now if you want to know all the values of a particular key, then we can just write h vels and then the key name stu1. It will just give you the values of that field value pair, right? So right now it's not giving name or age or class or surname, it's only giving the values of them, which is max and then 17, 8 and the surname value, right? So h vels is for value. Okay, now if you want to know the length of some hash, for example, I will just give this command h len and then the stu1, the key name -1. It will return you the number of fields in that hash. Okay, so press enter and it returns 4. So I know that student1 key has 4 number of field: name, age, class and surname. So I can just verify that with that. Okay, so 4 fields, so it will return number 4. Now the last command I want to show here is hmget. So let me clear the terminal, and then I just want to write hmget, and it will give you the result whatever fields you want. So for example, for stu1, for example, I just want to know the name of that student. I don't want any other information about that student but only the name. Then it will give me the name, right? And for example, I just want to know the name and age, even though the student hash contains surname and class also, but I just want to know the name and age. It will just give me the name and age when I use hmget, then the key name and the field name I want to see. So the field name I want to see right now is name and age, so I just give name and age. It will give me the result of those fields only. So in this way you can use hashes in Redis. Hey guys, welcome to the next video on Redis tutorial for beginners. In this video we will learn how to use Redis lists. So first of all, what are Redis lists? So Redis lists are simply lists of strings sorted by their insertion order, right? So as I already said that a Redis list is simply a list of string which are sorted by their insertion order. So a list would have a head on the top and tail on the bottom, right? Now in this list we can insert any element from the top also and from the bottom also, right? So element can be inserted to a list from the top or from the bottom.
Now sometimes you see lists in a horizontal way, right? Not in a vertical way, but on a horizontal way, right? Now if you see a list in a horizontal way, your head will be on the left hand side, right? So your head will be on the left hand side and your tail will be on the right hand side, right? So Redis has some command, for example, L push. L push means the left push. That means we want to push an element from the head, right? Left and head are same in the case of lists. So this is how Redis lists work. It's simply a list with the insertion order. Now let's see how we can use lists in Redis. So I'm going to start a terminal. I have already started my Redis server, so I'm going to just start the Redis CLI here and then press enter. And I want to show you one more Redis command, which is a Redis CLI command, and I thought this would be interesting to you. So I'm going to open a next terminal, and here also I will just give a Redis CLI command, and I will give an argument here. So I will just give monitor command here. Okay, so monitor, so Redis CLI monitor. And what this monitor is going to do is it's going to monitor all the commands which you are executing from your CLI. So for example, let me give keys asterisk command here, right? And now you can see it's showing us that we have given this command keys asterisk at this time. This is a timestamp at which this command is given. Okay, so this is the timestamp at which this command is given, and this is the command which we have given, right? So let's do flush all here and then press enter, and you can see this flush all command is printed here. So this is kind of a monitor, right? So this is going to monitor what the command you are giving to your Redis server. Okay, so let's start with the Redis lists. So first of all, how we can create a Redis list. So you can create a Redis list by just giving this command. You just need to give L push, right? So L push means left push. That means we want to insert an element from the top, right, from the head. Okay, and then we just need to give any key here. For example, key here I'm going to give num for numbers, right? And the first key I want to insert here will be, for example, 1. Okay, so first number, right? You can even insert multiple values here for this key, for this list, for example 2, 3 and 4. Okay, and then press enter, and these 4 elements are inserted to the list in this order, right? Now to see all the values in the list, you use L range command. So just use L range and then the name of the key, for example number in our case, and then you give the start and stop value for the range. Now Redis lists index start from 0. So for example, starting value we can give a 0 here, and let's say we want to just see the values in the list from 0 to 10. Okay, and then press enter, and it shows us these values from 4, 3, 2 and 1, right? So because we were pushing the values from the top, we have pushed 1 first, right? So it will be pushed from the top 1, and then we have pushed 2. So the top value will become 2 now when we push 2 here, and that's why it's a reverse order of numbers, right? So first we have pushed 1, and then we have pushed 2 at the top, and then we have pushed 3 at the top, and at the last we have pushed 4 at the top. So that's why the number 4 is at the top of the list and number 1 is at the bottom of the list, right? Now if we want to push number 5 on the top, we can just do L push here. So just do L push and the key name, and then for example I will do number 5 here, right, and then press enter, and once again I will do L range. You can see 5 is at the top. Now if you want to remove the value from the top, you give the L pop command. Okay, so L pop command is going to remove the value from the left hand side. Left hand side means from the top. Okay, so L pop is going to pop the value from the top, and in this case our key is num, and you can see it has popped 5 from the top. That means our list is now up to 4. Okay, so let's give the same command, L range 0 to 10, and now our list is 1 2 3 4 because we have removed 5 from the top. Okay, let me clear the terminal, and then I'm going to show you one more command. So let's start with the L range. So we have right now 4 elements in the list. Now there is a R push command and R pop command also. Okay, so when you do R push, that means right push. That means from the bottom you are pushing some numbers, right? So from the bottom, for example, I want to push the value 5 here. Okay, first of all I just need to give the key a name, and then from the bottom I want to push the number 5, and then press enter, and I will do L range once again. You can see this value goes at the bottom, 5 goes at the bottom, because we have R push. We have used this command R push. R push means from the bottom, push from the bottom, right, from the right hand side of the list. Okay, that's why this 5 goes at the bottom. Okay, once again let's do this R push, and let's push 6 at the bottom, and once again do L range, and you can see in the list you have the 6 at the bottom. So in Redis, this list is sorted by the insertion order, right? If you push from the right, it will go at the bottom, and if you push from the left, it will go at the top. And for left push you use L push, and for right push you use R push. Now as we have seen in the case of L pop is going to pop the value from the top. R pop is going to pop the value from the bottom. So just give R pop here, and then the key name, and it's going to pop 6 from the list, which is from the bottom, right? Let's do L range command once again, and now you can see 6 is gone from the list. In the same way, let's do R pop once again, and now 5 is gone from the list. So once again let's do L range, and now we have a list of 4 numbers, right? Let me clear the terminal here. Now let's give L range command once again, and now there is a command called L len. Okay, this means left length and name of the key, for example. It's going to give you the length of the list. In our case, this length is equal to the number of element in the list. Okay, so L len is for knowing the length of the list. Now for example, if you want to get some value at some index, you just do L index command. Okay, and then the name of the key and the index. So index start from 0, so 0 1 2 3. Okay, so for example we want to get number 2 here at index 3, so we will just say index 3. Okay, and it's going to give you the number 1 because index starts from 0. So 0 1 2 and 3, so index 3 is the value 1 here. Okay, let's do index 0 here, and it's going to give us the value 4. Now there is one more command called L set, so you can use L set and the key name, and then you can give the index at which you want to insert a value, right? So for example, I want to insert the value at the very top, so the very top is the index 0, right? And then the value itself, so I want to insert the value at the 0th index, and the value is 5, and then when I just press enter, it says okay, and when I do L range, you can see at the top, at the 0th index, this value 4 is replaced by value 5, right? So the size of the list remains the same, but the value is replaced at the 0th index, and now the new value is 5 here. Now let me push some more values here. So I'll push, you can do R push also wherever you want. So I'll push num, and for example I want to push number 6 here, and then number 7 and number 8 here. Okay, and let's do L range, and you can see all the values are here, right? Now sometimes you don't know the range or the length of your list. So for example, you just do 0 to 3 here, and it's going to just give you 0 to 3 values, right? Now if you don't know the length of your list, you can give L range and then 0 to -1. So let's give this command, and you can see it gives all the elements in the list. So when you do L range, the key name 0 to -1 is going to give you all the element in the list, right? This was giving the values from 0 to 10th index. So if our list is of length 20, this is going to give you only 10 values, 0 to 10, right? But this is going to give you all the 20 values if you your list length is 20. Now let me clear this terminal, and let's go to the next command. So the next command is L push X, and that means L push if the key exists. Okay, so the left push if the key exists. So we know that we have created a list with the key num, right? So let's do first of all this L range, right? And then we will give this L push X. Okay, and this means that insert to this list, for example this key exists already, so insert to the list if this key already exists, which you are providing here. Okay, and this is the left push. So we want to push one more value to the top, so let's push 9 at the top, and because this key num exists, this command is successful, right? So let's do L range once again, and this key is inserted at the top. Let's say we do L push X for a key which doesn't exist. For example, let's say we have a key for subjects. So let's say the key is sub here, and we want to push some keys. For example, once again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but this key doesn't exist, right? And then when we press enter, it returns 0 because this command is not successful, because this command checks whether this key exists or not, and if this key exists, then it's pushing these values on the top, right? But because this key doesn't exist, this command fails and there is no list will be created. Now the next command I want to show here is L insert before or after. So you just do L insert here, and then the key name, for example num here, and you have the option before or after. So before, after are the keyword. For example, I use the keyword before here, so I'm going to just write before, and the pivot name is this element. Okay, so I want to insert the value before 2, for example. Okay, so let me write 2 here, and the value is this time, for example 55. Okay, so L insert the key name, and you can use this keyword before or after here, and then the pivot, and then the value. And once again I do press enter, and you can see now the list size is 9, and when I do L range 0 to -1, you can see this 55 is inserted before 2, right? Before 2 is the index from the left, right? because we have done the L insert. Okay, so before 2 is inserted 55, right? You can do after also. So for example, I want to insert after 3, okay, or let's insert after 4. So after 5 we want to insert the value 4. You can see after 5 there is 3, right? So after 5 there is a value 3 and we want to insert 4, value 4 here. And now our list is of size 10, and you can see now after 5 comes 4, okay, and above 3 comes 4, okay. So this L insert is used to insert the value before or after some value. So these are some of the frequently used command with Redis Lists. Hey guys, welcome to the next video on Redis tutorial for beginners, and in this video we will learn what are sets and how to use sets in Redis. So first of all, what are sets? So Redis sets are an unordered collection of unique strings, right? So by unique I mean whatever values set contains, they are all unique, so no repetition is allowed here, okay. And they are unordered lists, so they are not ordered and they are unique. So let's see how we can use sets in practice. So I have already started my Redis server, and on my CLI, first of all, let me just clear all the keys which I already have. So I will just say keys, and I have only one key which I'm going to flush all. And now let's create a set, okay. So to create a set, you can just use S for set and then add, okay. So S add, and then give any name to a key. So for example, my set is a key here, and then you can add members here, one or many, okay. So for example, I want to have a set of numbers. So let me say this is my first set, so I will name it set 1, my set 1, and let's say I add here 1 2 3 4 for example, okay. And I just press enter, which is going to create a set and add these 4 numbers. Now here I have provided 4 different numbers, right? So they are all unique, and to view the members of a set, you just do S members, okay. So S members and the key name, my key name is my set 1, and you can view all the members of the set, right? Now for example, in this set I want to add one more value, so I just say S add and then my set 1, and I want to add 3 here, right? And I already know that here I already have 3 in my set, and I want to add one more 3 to the set, which is not allowed, right? So it's going to give me 0 in return. That means this 3 is not added to the set because 3 is already there, okay. We can just prove this by using S members and then the set name. So you can see set is not changed, the values in the set remain same because they must be unique, okay. On the other hand, when I do S set 1 5, which is a new member in the set, I can just verify this. So you can see this time it's added, and you can verify it with this value. If you get 1 here, that means the number is added to the set, and if you get 0 here, that means number is not added to the set, right? Now for example, if I want to know how many values are there in the set, so how many members are there in the set, so I can just do S card and then the name of the set, my set 1, okay, my set 1, and I can see there are 5 members in the set, okay. Now let me create one more set. So I have my set 1. Let me clear the terminal first, and now I will create set 2. So set add or S add my set 2 here. Okay, and let me add some more numbers here. This time I will add for example 5, 8, 7, 6, 4 and 9 in this set. Okay, and then press enter, and I can view this set by S members here, and the key name as set2, and you can see these are the member of second set, right? Now if you have multiple sets, you can subtract one set from other using sdiff. Okay, so you can use sdiff, and this sdiff command returns the members of the set resulting from the difference between the first set and all other successive sets. So this is the difference. So I will just add my set1 as my first set, and then I will just give the second set as my set2. Okay, and then press enter, and it's going to give me the difference between these two sets. Let me show you the values of the set1 also, so we can verify. So you can see in the set1 we have value 1 to 5, and then in the set2 we have values 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So from sdiff it's going to give you the values which are there in the set1, but they are not there in the set2. Okay, so these values, these three values are not there in the set2, right? But 4 and 5 are there in the set2, so they are discarded. So sdiff is going to give you the difference. That means whatever values are there in set1 and not there in set2. Now if you want to know the sdiff and save it into the third set, for example, then you can do that also. So you can just write sdiff and then store and then the destination. So I'm going to save the difference in a new set. So for example my set3, right? And then the difference between these two sets, so my set1 and my set2. So these three values will be saved in the new set, which is my set3. Okay, press enter, and then you can see by S members my set3, you can see all these values are saved in the set3, which is the difference between my set1 and my set2. Now you can do the union also, union of the set. So for example, I want to do union, I can just write S union and the set name, so my set1 and my set2. Okay, so I wanted to do the union of set1 and set2, and then press enter, and it's going to give you these values. So union means whatever values which are there in the first set also and second set also, the combination of that unique value, right? So all the unique value which are there in the first set and second set. So these value were in the first set and these value which are unique in the second set. So this is the combination of S union. Okay, and same you can do for storing. So you can just write S union store here. So just write S union store, and I'm going to store it in set4, for example. So my set4, the union of set1 and set2, right? Press enter and union is saved. I can do S member my set4, and you can see now it has 1 to 9, which is the union of set1 and set2. Okay, so in order to store, use S union store. Now if I want to remove some members from a set, I can do srem for removing a value from a set or member from a set. And for example, I want to remove some member from set4, and I want to remove, for example, 9. Okay, and then press enter. It's going to remove 9 from the set4, and I'm going to do S members once again, and you can see 9 is not there anymore. Okay, you can remove multiple values, for example 8, 7, 6 and so on, and these will be removed. So now I have only up to 5 values, because 876 are removed. Now for example, I want to remove a random value from the set. So I don't want to remove a specific value, but I want to remove a random value. So for example, I can do spop here to remove a random value from a set. So my set 4 for example, and for example I want to remove only one value from here, right? So I can just press enter. It says 3, so it has removed 3 from this set. Okay, so let's do smember s4, and you can see 3 is no more there in the set 4. Okay, so it has picked a random value from this set and removed it. Okay, I can give for example spop my set 4. For example, I want to remove 2 random values, so I can just do that, and now it has removed 4 and 1 from the set, and now my set is only of 2 values or 2 members, 2 and 5. Okay, so spop is to remove the random value from the set. Now let me clear this terminal and let me just print the values of set 1 and set 2 once again. So set 1 has 1 to 5 and set 2 have 4 to 9. Now there is a command called sinter, and sinter command gets the element of a set after the intersection of all the specified set. Okay, so it's going to give you the intersection of all the specified set. So just do sinter, for example my set 1 and my set 2, and then press enter, and it's going to give you the intersection. Intersection means these values are there in both the sets, so these are the intersection of both the sets. So 4 and 5 are there in set 1 and set 2, so it's going to give you those value only. And as we have seen in the case of sdiff and sunion, you can do for example sinter store, so you can store the intersection into a new set. So sinter store, and for example I want to save this in set 5 and then press enter, and then I can just see the content of set 5, which is 4 and 5, which is correct. Now the last command I want to show here is smove command. So smove, and this command is used to transfer or move value or member from one set to the another set, right? So for example, I want to move 1 from my set 1 to my set 2. Okay, so I want to move this value to the set 2. So what I can do, so first of all, the source is my set 1, and I want to move it to the destination, which is my set 2, and I want to transfer the value 1, member 1, right? So press enter. It says 1, that means the operation is successful. So let me see the member or members of set 2, and now you can see 1 is moved to the set 2. Earlier 1 was not there in the set 2, but now we have 1 in the set 2. And let's see the contents of set 1 also. So you can see 1 is no longer there in set 1 because it's moved from set 1 to set 2. So these are some of the most frequently used command in Redis sets.
Hey guys, welcome to the next video on Redis tutorial for beginners. And in this video we will learn how we can use sorted sets in Redis. So first of all, what are sorted sets? So Redis sorted sets are similar to the Redis sets with a unique feature that their members can be sorted. Now every member of a sorted set is associated with a score, and based on this score their members can be sorted, right? So you can see in this diagram the Redis key will remain the same as other patterns, but here you can see a score here. So you can define a score. For example, I will define a score 100 and then the value associated with the score. So the value associated with the score is value 2, and this is our member of a set. And there is a new feature in the sorted set, which is this score, right? So you can define a score, and with this score you can define a member or a value associated with it, and then on the basis of that we can sort the members of our set, right? So let's see in practical how it works. So I'm going to open my Redis CLI. So the first command we are going to learn here is zadd, and the zadd is used to create a set if it doesn't exist, or add a member to this set if it already exists, right? So every command in sorted set will start with this character z, and then whatever its function is, the function name, for example, right? So zadd, and then the key name, for example MySet1, and the score, so score is 1, and the value associated with it. So value, for example, you want to associate it with the score 1 is A, right? In a similar way we can define multiple score members here. So score and the value associated with it, 2 and B. For example 3 is the third score, and the value we want to associate with it is C, and then they need not be in order, so score can be 5 now, and the value can be D here, right? Or any other value, right? And then press enter, and you can see 4 members are inserted in the sorted set. Now to get the members of a sorted set, you use z and then range command, okay, as we have seen in the sets also. And then what is your key name, for example MySet1, and then starting value and the end value, as we have seen in the case of sets also. So in the case of sets, we have seen that 0 and -1 are going to give all the values in the set, right? So press enter, and you can see here all the values are printed here. Now you can see here the values are printed, not the scores associated with them, right? So for example, I once again write zadd, and then set1, MySet1, and then for example I can just give score 100 here, and then the value is E here, right? And then press enter, and once again I will just give z range MySet1, and then you can see all the values here, or all the members here, but these are not the scores, these are just ordered number. Now if you want to know how many number of members are there in our set, we can use z card here, okay, and the key name, for example MySet1, and then press enter, and I can see that there are 5 members in my sorted set, right? Now in order to get the count of members in the sorted set with the scores within the given range, we use z count, okay, and then the key name, so MySet1, and the minimum and the maximum score value here. So for example I want to get 1 2 3 here, okay, and then press enter, and then it's going to count the number of values between this range, right? So for example I will just write 1 to 5 here, and values are 4, because in between score 1 and score 5 there are 4 values including those scores. Now I can just write 1 to 50 here, or 55, and still it's going to give us 4 values, number of values, because the last score we have associated here is 100. So when we write here 101 here and then press enter, then only it's going to give us 5 values. And let's say we can give 99 here, still it gives the 4 values. So the z count is going to take the score values, and then depending upon the score values, it's going to give you the number of values in between these scores. Now let me clear the terminal, and to remove any member from a set,
you use ZREM, and then the key name MySet and the member. So the member here will be the member value, so not the score but the member. So for example, I want to remove the member B, so I can just give the value of member B and then press enter, and once again I will just give this Z range command, and now it's giving the same answer because I haven't given the right key name, so I must give ZM MySet 1 here, right? And then it gives integer 1, that means the command is successful, and once again the range, and now you can see the value is removed from here. Now if you want to determine the index of a member in a sorted set, you use Z rank here. So just give Z rank command and then MySet 1 and the member name, so for example D here, and then press enter, and it's going to give you the index of this D, right? So the index starts from 0, so 0 1 2, right? For example, I want to see the index of E here, and it's going to give me the index 3, and for example for member A the index is 0. Now there is a Z rev rank command also, so you can just write Z rev rank here, and this is the reverse rank, right? So the rank will be sorted according to the score. So highest score is the 0th index, right? And then the lowest score is the maximum index. Okay, so for example MySet 1 and then the member name, for example E, is the rank 0 here, right? Because index of E is the highest rank. Rank is 100 for E, right? And it's the biggest rank, that means the index for it will be 0 because we are printing the reverse rank here. Okay, for example, we want to see the index of A, it will be 3 because it's in reverse order. Now the last command I'm going to show you here is Z score command. Okay, and then I can give the key name and the member name. So for example, I will give the member A and then press enter. It's going to give me the score value of this member, right? So for example, I want to see the score of member E and press enter. It's going to give me 100 because score associated with E was 100, right? And for example, this value doesn't exist in our sorted set. For example, I just added or given the random value here and then press enter. It's going to return the nil value, which doesn't exist. Okay, now let me clear the terminal. Let me show one more command to you. So for example, I just want to print the range of my set 1 0 to -1, and this is A C D E, and I want to add one more value here, so I will just add Z add, and I want to add this value to my set 1 and add the score 1, and I want to add, for example, A 5 times, and then press enter, and it returns me 1. That means the value for this score is now set to A instead of A, for example, right? So let me do a Z range once again, and you can see here the new value is added here, which is A, right? And if you remember, the score of A was also 1, right? So let me give the same command now, which is Z score, and this time I want to just see the score of A, which is 1, and then I want to see the score of A, which is also 1. So it's totally fine if you give same score to multiple values, right? So for example, I want to give one more value to this score, for example B, and then press enter, and once again the range I want to see, this value is added, and then I want to see the score of B. So B, and you can see the score is still 1. Okay, so it's totally fine to have one score for multiple values. Now what happens to the rank here? So for example, Z rank for my set 1, so my set 1, and then B, and the index here is 2. So this is how sorted set works. Now there is one more command, which is Z range by score, and then you can give the key name and then the score value, minimum score for example 1, and then the maximum score, for example I am going to give here 2, right? And then press enter, and I get here 3 values because there are 3 values associated with the score 1, and I think there was no score for 2, right? So no value was associated with 2. So let's see 1 to 4 for example, and now I can see these values and C also. So if you want to get values by the range of scores, then you can use Z range by score. Okay, so this is how you can use sorted sets in Redis. There are some more commands which are associated with sorted set. You can just search for them and then practice them, but these are some of the most frequently used command with the sorted sets.
Hey guys, welcome to the next video on Redis tutorial for beginners. In this video we will learn how to use Redis publish subscribe. So Redis publish subscribe implements the messaging system where sender is called the publisher and the receiver is called the subscriber, right? Now in Redis, a client can subscribe to any number of channels. So let me give you an example and let me show you how you can use Redis publish subscribe. So you can see I have opened 3 Redis CLI terminals in 3 different terminals, right? So this is Redis CLI first terminal, second terminal, and third terminal. Now first of all, I am going to subscribe to a channel, so I can just write subscribe here, and then it takes a channel name, right? And I can give any channel name, for example Redis, or any other channel name, so for example my channel, and I can subscribe to this channel. Okay, so the name depends upon you, right? So for example I subscribe to the channel called Redis and I just press enter. So now this terminal is subscribed to this channel, right? Now from the second CLI, when I publish some message to this channel, so let me publish something. So to publish a message, you can just use a keyword publish, as we have seen in subscribe. So to subscribe, you use a keyword subscribe and then a channel name. For publishing, you use a keyword publish and the channel name on which you want to publish, right? So I want to publish on the Redis channel, and then your message, for example hi, right? And I press enter, and you can see on the subscriber it gets the same message. So first of all, it will just show you what kind of message is coming. So it's a message, and then on what channel it's coming and what is the message itself, right? Now if you want to send a big message, you can just enclose your message inside these double quotes. So for example hello world here, and then press enter, then it's received here. Okay, now it's possible to subscribe to any number of channels, right? So you can see I'm subscribed to Redis from one channel. Now I can just copy the same command in the next terminal here, and then I'm subscribed to this channel. So now there are two subscriber subscribed to one Redis channel. So this is the channel and I'm subscribed to that channel, right? So there are two subscriber for the channel name Redis, and when I just send hello world again, for example, now it is received by both the subscribers, right? So you can see hello world is received here and hello world is received here. Okay, so this is how publish subscribe method work in Redis. Now when you are doing or using Redis in the programming, then it's really important or it's really useful. So for example, recently I created some kind of API where I wanted to listen for any event for save in Redis. So whatever is saved, whenever some command comes and something is saved in Redis, I wanted to subscribe to that save event, right? And I have used this publish subscribe method from Redis in that API, and it worked fine. So it's kind of listening to the trigger, for example, for saving the data or some deletion of data. You can subscribe and then you will get this message on the next side which is subscribing, and based on that subscription you can trigger some event. Okay, now let me just close this CLI and once again open the CLI once again, and let me clear the terminal once again. And there is a command called psubscribe, so you can do psubscribe and then it takes the pattern. So for example, I can just write r and then asterisk. R asterisk here means any publisher, when it's published on the channel name which start with R, it will receive that message. So for example, I am publishing this publish Redis because this pattern matches this pattern. So asterisk is some kind of a wildcard here. So it's whatever. So for example, I'm subscribing to R asterisk and I'm just publishing the same message again, and you can see it's receiving that message because it's just matching the pattern. Whatever publisher publishes on the pattern which matches R asterisk, for example R, and whatever comes after R, this is matching that pattern, so it will receive that message. For example, I can just do something like this. So I publish on Rx, for example. This also matches this pattern, right? Because we just want to match the first letter of that channel, and whatever comes after that, it will be matched automatically. So this is kind of a pattern matching in Redis. So p subscribe is used to pattern matching, and whatever publisher channel matches that pattern, it will be receiving that message. So you can see this is receiving that message, but this CLI is not receiving. So because we have subscribed to a concrete channel here, which is not a pattern, so whenever we just give the Redis channel itself, then only it will receive the message, and this automatically receives the message because here we are just matching the pattern. Okay, so in this way you can use publish subscribe in Redis. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and bye for now.